Thursday, August 8th, 2024. I am watching some of last week's episodes of The View that I missed while I was traveling, and I missed their last live episode of the season, which had Pete Buttigieg in it. And it wasn't even live, it was pre recorded. And they didn't even work all the way up until Friday. Um, so this is just like, I think this is just a little praise of Pete Buttigieg moment. This it was recorded and aired before the before Harris picked Tim Walz as her VP, or at least announced that pick, and part of a whole slew of interviews that Buttigieg gave as a surrogate for the Harris campaign. And one thing that he's done very specifically in every one of these interviews that he's been in is to make sure that he is not introduced as the Secretary of Transportation. He's the former mayor of South Bend, making sure that he's not appearing as part of the Biden cabinet and administration, because that's a violation of the Hatch Act. You're not allowed as a member of the administration to campaign um, as a member of the administration, which is something that the Trump administration completely ignored the entire time. And I'm sure Fox News has never even mentioned the Hatch Act. But he has been very careful and very specific, even to the point where when he's asked questions about his relationship with Joe Biden, he doesn't even want to get into specifics about things that they have discussed in terms of infrastructure bills, or um, because he's like, that's part of the job that I have, that I'm not here to represent. He's really been very explicit about that, and it's so nice to see, because it really demonstrates um, a willingness of transparency, and I love that, and he's so clear about it. Aside from the fact that he's so clear and effective with all of his speaking engagements, and the sort of the messages that he's been delivering over and over again have been brilliant. That this, everyone's talking about, the weird tactic and calling them names, and that's not really calling them name, it's just a descriptor. It's an adjective. It's not, Donald Trump is the one who makes up stupid little nicknames like he's in grade school. That isn't name calling. It is literally just saying what you're saying is weird. And he's what Buttigieg just said several times, including this interview, is that we can do both. We can talk about policy, and we can talk about Trump's existential threat to democracy, but we can also just acknowledge that some of the things that they do and they say are fucking strange. Um, and his point has been, it's not just strange and weird behavior or strange and weird speech, it leads to strange and weird policies, like, tracking a woman's menstrual cycles, or, like, that's weird. There's no reason for the government to know any of that. So like, I like how he pulls things together, and and sort of follows the thread through, not just saying, um, this is resonating. It's like, but this is why it's a valid um, part of the conversation. Um, his uh, response to JD Vance about being childless and not having a physical connection to the country, I thought was freaking brilliant. And he said it in a couple of places where, he was childless and in Afghanistan, and that he felt like a real, physical connection to the future of the country. Tying that to military services is pretty freaking genius, and it seems quite personal to him, because it comes out, he's pretty even-handed, but you can see every once in a while he starts to get a little hot about some stuff, which is um, it's kind of it's kind of sweet to watch him be so steady and have just those flashes of either passion or humor or lightheartedness, because he is usually so direct, um, and sort of even keeled. Um, Speaking of military service, apparently they're going. The Vance is going after Tim Walz's military experience, because he didn't go to combat. He didn't go to war, or a war zone. Um, he served 24 years in the military and retired and was never called like that. Just like, and to watch the military leaders sort of chew up Vance for that, and it's like, dude, you're on a ticket with a guy who literally uh, made up bone spurs to not go to combat. I don't know where they get this idea that the GOP is the place for um, soldiers and veterans because they don't take care of them. Um, so anyway, back to Buttigieg. I, I've lost the thread now, but because I'm not as clear a thinker as he is, although we are both Midwesterners. Um, his answers every time when asked about the vice presidency, and to sort of push that off and like that's not for me to decide, and she'll make the right decision for herself. I'm sure he will have a place in her cabinet somewhere. There is a great photograph, and I don't know what it was taken for, um, but it's a black and white photograph, and she's standing there in a pantsuit, and he is in his white shirt and tying a tie on, almost like, and looking at her, almost like in preparation. I'm getting ready. Um, and it's such a great. It would make a great shot for his uh, um, being chosen as the vice president, but he wasn't. But it doesn't matter because it is a great uh, photograph symbolizing that partnership and that sort of unity. Like I'm here and I am ready. So I look forward to a whole bunch more years of him getting wheeled out into every corner of media to deliver some messaging. And maybe if he could just give like maybe create a PowerPoint or just do a couple of training sessions with some people. I think people are sort of catching on to this whole notion, and he's been brilliant at it. And I feel like the campaign with Walls is going in the same direction. That we are keeping ourselves even keeled. We are not going to get rattled by the bullshit from the other side. And the fact that they are falling apart over a joke about couch fucking, and they're so whiny and pissy about it. It's like you've been screaming horrible lies about um, every Democrat, whether Hillary, Biden, Harris, whatever you want. You pick a Democrat, and the lies and the vitriol and the name calling that have come from Trump and the GOP, and all of a sudden one joke that could be taken in any way that you want. The fact that you're associating it to the joke about the couch fucking um, is, and they're so mad about that, yet they're not mad about um, the dozens of sexual assault allegations from the leader of their ticket. But a joke about fucking a couch, that's too personal. These people are out of their minds, and it's so nice to see um, everybody sort of waking up and coming out of this sort of fever dream of bullying, that of just being tamped down and feeling trapped by all of this vitriol, and having an energetic ticket for president and vice president that is saying, we're looking for the joy. We're looking for things that we can do. We're looking to move forward. Um, and that's it, the amount of sort of hope that is coming out of this campaign, and a lot of that stems from people like Pete Buttigieg who provide that. It's like it's a level of hope and energy I haven't felt since Obama '08. And it's this I feel is even stronger because it's come from such a difficult and dark place that it's like, yes, fucking finally. And I think this is energizing people up and down the spectrum, and up and down the age groups, and up and down the um, you know demographic, however you want to split it. So, yay, Harris Walls, yay, Mayor Pete. And, we'll look forward to the next 90 days.